Hey now, welcome to the City Off Campus podcast with your two favorite hosts, Sammy Summerfeld and Jack McFarland. Our guest today is now former Iowa men's golfer, Alex Schaake. How's everything going with you?
It's pretty good. Thanks for having me on. This is hopefully going to be a blast. I've had some people say that this is a pretty fun podcast to be on, and so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, sweet. Love to hear that. Um, I'm assuming some of those people might have been some of our other golf guests.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I assume. Love to hear that though. So my first question for you is, now with your Iowa career being over, what's kind of the next stage? I've seen some stuff on social media about you going pro. What's that looking like? What are some of the things you've been doing lately? Can you kind of give us the scoop there?
Yeah. So this year, the NCAA did a new thing called PGA Tour University, where if you finish inside the top 15, you get some like status on what's called the Forum Tour. And it's basically a development tour up into the Corn Ferry Tour. So I guess if you finish, so I finished 13th out of the top 15, and I got full status on that tour. So those events start here in about 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm gonna play all 8 events that there is. And if you finish top 5 in the point standings, then you get like basically full status on the Corn Ferry Tour for next year. So just doing those, some, the Iowa Open, a few other things here and there, but those are the big events this summer.
Great. So what are you looking forward to in this like pro experience that you're kind of gonna have, like getting your foot kind of in the door there? What's kind of
Yeah,
the parts you're looking forward to from an experience side and competition standpoint?
yeah, I think the competition is gonna be really good. I finally get to compete against my brother again, which is awesome. So, yeah, I mean, I've these guys on the tour that I'm gonna go on were guys that a lot of them were in seniors in college when I was freshman, and so they've had just as much time to develop and continue to grow their game. But I'm just looking forward to making money, especially. This is my job now, which is kind of weird, to think. I mean, I get to make money playing a sport, which isn't really fair to a lot of people, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Just going out there competing. I love competing, so going out there and playing against some of the best players in the world um, will definitely be fun. And being able I love to travel as well, so being able to travel to all these different places, I get to go to Georgia here in a few weeks and play in my first event there, so I'm pretty stoked about that.
That's awesome. So you've won Big Ten Player of the Year 2 times. So what has that experience been like to, there's so many other accolades, first team all Big Ten and all these other records you have as a Hawkeye. What did it kind of mean for you to leave here? Not just winning Big Ten Player once, but winning it twice and all the other things that kind of came along with it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's really special. I, I, I guess nobody in the program has done it twice. I guess COVID helped me out a little bit with me coming back and winning it a second time. So, um, I can give thanks to that, I guess. Not really because it's COVID, but yeah, I mean, I had a good year, and we didn't have a great team last year. We were in some development stage with some younger guys, and then we kind of just caught fire this year with some of those younger guys learning from last year and stepping up and playing well this year. And I give credit to my team for pushing me to win that award at each year. I mean, I had Matthew Walker my junior year when I won, and he was right up there with me, pushing me every day. I mean, me and him were the top dogs on our team, and he was I didn't like to lose to him, he didn't like to lose to me, and that just pushed us harder and harder to play better and compete. And I had that this year as well with Mac McClear. He Big Ten champion, also won another event, which is awesome. So um hopefully I can find that person out there on these mini tours. Maybe it's my brother, and I've been playing with my brother a lot, and he's been playing really well. So hopefully I can find that person to push me, and hopefully I can win some more awards. But my end goal is to be on the PGA Tour someday.
One thing you have in your Twitter bio that caught my eye was that you have that you're a COVID senior.
Yeah.
What is that like? Like, put into words what that was like for you, and like you've just alluded to, and like what you just said, it was your final season, but it allowed you to accomplish some of these things. Like, what was that like for your final year here?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, there was nothing really going on in the golf world during, COVID. There was mini tours happening, but they weren't really doing any qualifiers to get on tours. So I thought it was like the perfect opportunity to come back. And with this PGA Tour University thing, allowed, some guys to have a chance at getting some status this year. And I took, full advantage of that. And, but yeah, it was a fun year. I mean, I was joking around with, my teammates and my parents that I was a professional amateur because I didn't really do much school. I mean, I did a leadership certificate this whole year, which doesn't mean anything. It just was something to stay eligible. And I got through it, shakily, but here I am. Yeah, I'm here now, and we're all done with school now. I never have to go back.
So yeah, like that's something I like to talk about with people who I know have just graduated. Like once you finish school, you graduate, like that's over, no more school. And like you've said, you want to be a pro golfer, and like that is now your job. What is like a daily routine like for you? Like, do you just get up and you're like, all right, time to eat breakfast, stretch, maybe go for a run, and then I'm just gonna go hit balls? Like, is that seriously what it's like for you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. I wake up basically at like 8:30 every day. Well, I'll try to get up at 8:30. At the course by like 9:30. I usually beat balls on the range for like an hour and a half. I'm not really too technical with anything, so I just, get myself back into form for the day. Hit some putts, do some drills on the putting green, and then I like playing golf, and that's kind of where I get my confidence. So, get a tee time here at my home course, which isn't too hard, and go out and play with, whoever it is, my brother or my swing coach, or honestly whoever, and shape my game out there. I feel like, the best way to, perfect something is to just, do it repetitively. And I kind of have that same mindset when I go out on the golf course as well.
Doing things repeatedly, whatever. Do you have any superstitions that you just can't go without doing?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm very superstitious. I literally can't wear. I mean, I have to wear black socks. Like if I don't wear black socks, like I'm not playing well. I'm not like, and I tried at regionals. I wore like these long gray socks under my pants, and I shot like 8 over the second round. And I was like, this is not happening again. And then I always mark my ball with a quarter heads up.
What year? What year's the quarter?
The year doesn't matter.
Okay.
I've used this. I don't even know what quarter I have it now, but I've used the same quarter this whole semester. I haven't gotten rid of it. So, and then I always have to have 2 tees in my right pocket. I don't know why. And then that's it. And there's some I don't know. There's just little things that people notice, but I don't really notice them anymore because it's just kind of part of my routine.
No, yeah, there was one superstition. It's eerily similar to yours. I think it was Dustin Johnson. He had the quarter. And it has to be. Isn't it have to be in the 1960s because he wants to shoot into the 60s?
Yeah, that's DJ's. I'm not like that, but I definitely just I use a quarter heads up. I mean, when someone makes me move my mark, I just I flip it to tails just so I don't remember, or that I remember that I moved it, so I make sure I move it back. But like, other than that, like, yeah, I'm pretty superstitious.
And at like what age and at what point in your career did you realize that you had this superstitious trait where you had to keep doing certain things over and over for comfort in your own game? And like, were you like, oh damn, like I got to keep doing this over and over, and it's just something you got accustomed to, or were like you just cool with it from the jump?
I mean, I think probably like I was like, I just like was like, let's just try it one day, and I probably played like really well, and I was like, okay, I have to do this every single time now. I don't think there was like a certain point in time where like there was no build up to it. It was just kind of like probably like, oh, I did this today and I played really well. Like I'm just gonna continue to do this because it worked.
Is like, and one thing I like to ask a lot of my golfing friends, some of them wear hats when they go out and some of them don't. And I don't get why. And sometimes they won't when it's sunny. Like, do you always have to wear a hat, or do you sometimes just drop the hat and go no hat?
I wear a hat. I usually wear a hat. I mean, I wear a hat mostly every time. When I'm out on the range and it's, sunny and it's 85 degrees, I'll take off the hat because I have a pretty bad tan line up here and it's pretty white. So I'll try to get some sun on it. But yeah, I think I've taken off the hat once in my life during a round, and it was my senior year at our home tournament, like in the fall. And I was like 6 over and I was playing like some of the worst golf ever. And I was just like, screw this hat. Like I just tossed it in my bag. It was like making me all sweaty. It was weird.
What have been the best conditions for you in a golf tournament or when you're golfing by yourself, whatever? And then what are the worst conditions to play in? Hot, cold, rainy?
So actually I was in Naples, playing at Calusa Pines. I don't know if you've heard of it. And we had a tournament there this year, and it was like 85 degrees, like blowing zero. And that was like the only time I had worn shorts this whole semester. And so I brought out the shorts. I played pretty well. But yeah, I mean, if it's like 85 sunny, like blowing zero, like those are perfect scoring conditions for golfers. And usually, we can shoot under par. I mean, if you're not playing well, like, yeah, it was a tough course too, but if you're playing well, like if you can get those conditions and you're confident, like you can take it deep out there on the golf course. And then what was it? My sophomore year at Finkbine, it was like 35 degrees, raining, and like blowing like 35 miles per hour. And it was brutal. Like we had to like shorten like the tournament. We played the first round. So we played a practice round in the morning the first day. And then we played the 18 holes in the afternoon, which is like, that never happens. And then we played 18 more holes the next day, which was the brutal day. And it was only 36 holes when they're usually 54. And then I remember, because Nebraska was at that tournament. I live in Nebraska, so I know some of the Nebraska guys. They told me that it took them like 7 hours to get home because it was snowing when they were driving home. Yeah. It was that bad.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I thought you were actually going to say Naples for worse, because sometimes when it gets too hot here with the humidity, you talk about sweating on a golf course. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. True. So actually, one thing I want to ask you before we dive into more of your golf career and things like that, Jack has asked a question before on the pod to other golfers, which is, what is a tip you'd have for bad golfers where they're just not very good? What would the tip be to improve? And what's the thing that they shouldn't do that a lot of amateur golfers do that like would annoy someone like you?
So I'm a big believer in like, so a lot of amateur golfers, especially like guys who think they're really good and well, they don't think they're really good, but they have, go out there and be like, oh yeah, like I can shoot 80, and then you go play with them, they shoot 90. They try to move the ball 2 different ways. Like they try to hit draws, they try to hit cuts. Like I think like the biggest thing that I've taken away from being in college is just to try to, know your game really well. Like just swing your swing, and whatever way the ball goes, just play that shot. If you hit a big slice, then you hit a big slice and just aim it way left. Slice it back to the fairway. And then there's the things that annoy me with golfers is like a lot of amateurs just don't know how to chip. Like they don't know how to, their short game is terrible. And when they get like, they're like 3 steps off the green and they're trying to hit like a wedge shot. Like I'm like, just putt it. Like seriously, just pull out your putter, putt it. Like I promise you're going to play way better. Even if you're in the rough, like you're like, just putt it. I'm not even kidding.
What's the worst golf etiquette that you have ever seen in like a collegiate tournament, and then just casually if you're just out on a round off season, whatever?
I would say, I mean, I think it was like 2 years ago, like this kid, I'm not going to name names or anything.
Yeah.
It was, I don't even remember where it was, but the kid like would never touch the pin. Like he would never pull out the pin, would never put in the pin. And that's fine. Like if like you're gonna get like if you're gonna go like fast, like and you're gonna putt first, like that's fine. Like I'll grab the pin. Or if you're not gonna put the pin in, at least go to the next hole and hit. But like this kid would just stand on the side of the green and like just take his old time, like look at his phone, like.
Do you think it was like wait, was this like during a college tournament?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So did he think it was some sort of like competitive advantage that he wasn't pulling the pin?
Or it might have been some superstition, honestly. I don't know.
That
It
is
could have
true.
been. But yeah, I don't know. And then I mean, you see all the time with amateur golfers when you're just playing like out at your home course, like people walk through your lines all the time and won't rake bunkers and which is fine, but like I don't know. It kind of annoys me because I'm playing competitive golf and like I always do it. So I'm just like it takes 2 seconds of your time, just do it. You know.
Have you ever seen anyone with metal spikes on? Because I saw there was a lot of talk about Bryson DeChambeau's metal spikes. I was just curious if you've ever seen anyone with metal spikes on.
I haven't. No, I don't even know what those like what the difference is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bryson, I mean, he swings it so hard. He has so much lower body movement that he probably needs it. So, but I've never seen it. But yeah, that whole thing with him in the metal spikes and him and Brooks Koepka is just been wild.
Are you Team Brooks or Team Bryson?
I
can't believe I just asked that type of question, but it's a kind of a thing nowadays.
It is a kind of a thing.
That's a tweet, Jack.
It is.
You're talking in tweets now.
I don't know. I didn't like Brooks that much, and I liked Bryson because like I like people who just bomb it. Like I don't know why.
Yeah.
And now like after Brooks, like after seeing how annoyed Brooks was with Bryson, like I kind of like Brooks now. Honestly, it makes me like him more, I think.
No, I have a lot of friends who are split on that feud between Brooks and Bryson, and both sides think they're right, and both sides are backing two of the best golfers right now. Yeah. And being a golfer, obviously you watch it nonstop, you play it nonstop. Who would you say your game is more similar to, or are Brooks and Bryson's game rather similar? I'm not really too like in on how they play and what their styles are like, but like which side do you think you would sway more towards?
Probably Brooks. I mean, they both hit it really far. I don't hit it like super far, but Bryson tries to hit a big draw. I hit a cut. Brooks kind of hits it straight. I don't know. I would just say someone who drives it well. Because I drive it well. Someone who hits a cut. I love seeing a cut. When I see a draw, I just almost puke for some reason. I don't know why. So it's probably because I used to hit draws, and like now that I've gone to a cut, like it just looks way better. But
is that just like one of those natural things where you were just naturally a draw and you were like, I want to get rid of that immediately?
Yeah, it was actually funny. So my freshman year, I wasn't very good. Like I would like, I mean, okay, this is gonna sound bad because like I like 76 scoring average, which is good for a lot of people. Good for a lot of people, but like not good for a Division I college golfer in a Power 5 conference. And I just wasn't playing well for myself. And it was actually the last round at Big Tens. And I'd hit draws my whole life. Like I had no idea where it was going at that point in time. And I was like 12 over for the tournament, like in 50th place. And I was like, I stepped up to the range that day and I was like, I just got to change something. And so I was like, I'm just going to hit cuts the whole entire day. Like no matter if the pin's on the left side, like I'm going to hit a cut. No matter if the whole calls for a draw, like I'm just going to hit a cut. And I ended up shooting 4 under bogey free. And ever since that day, I've never purposely hit a draw like from the middle of the fairway unless I'm like behind a tree and have to hook it around. Like you'll never see me hit a draw off the tee ever.
And your coaches are completely like on board with this whole philosophy of yours to just not even go that route.
Oh, I didn't tell them that I was gonna hit.
No,
I didn't tell them. No, they didn't walk with me. They're like, this guy's hopeless. Like this guy's not gonna help the team. Like I'm gonna go walk with someone else. So I didn't really tell him that day, but after that, you kind of saw how I was playing, and then I was just like I need to do something different, and so he was pretty cool with that, and went back that summer and started playing pretty well. Got some stuff done with my swing coach, and I started playing really well after that.
So would you say that was like one of the key moments of the evolution of your game, kind of from freshman to COVID senior year? Or like, what are some of the other things you kind of saw change from your game as a competitor and as just a golfer technically, from your freshman year shooting 76 to where you're at now?
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest thing. I mean, I had heard like I've always tell people like people who hit it, right to left or left to right, or they do both. Like I'm on the range for half the time because all I'm doing is working on left to right shots. Like it's just half as much to practice. Like if you really think about it, like you don't have to practice hitting draws and fades. You just practice fades. So, yeah, I feel like, and like if there's a left pin, like, and it calls for a draw, like if you can get really good at hitting a fade, like, and your ball is going to go left to right, like it doesn't matter where the pin is. Like there's the green's the same width. Like you can hit the green no matter what. And so that was definitely, I think that was probably the biggest moment in my golf career in my life, doing that. And then, I mean, just being out there and getting the experience on college golf courses. They're much similar to PGA Tour courses. I guess like hardness wise, and so just getting the experience there and playing against some of the best players in the world. And I've played in some pretty big tournaments, a couple on the Corn Ferry Tour, and just seeing that, it just it made me smarter as a golfer, um, made me more mature, and I just don't really take anything for granted out there on the golf course. If it's just golf, and I've realized that. And if you play bad, you play bad. I mean, there's always another day to make it up. And that's kind of how I've shaped my mindset over the last 4 years.
What are some of the key tournaments or moments on the course that have been highlights for you? Some of your favorite moments, whether they were victories or whether they were just specific individual shots, or can you kind of take us through some of those moments?
Yeah, actually, this year was definitely my favorite moment since I've been in Iowa. It was in Georgia at Sea Island, and we won the tournament. And I was playing, so because of COVID, we were playing in carts for some reason, which is really weird. And because of COVID, we got paired up with one of our teammates. So I was playing with Mac, and we were like down. We had like 7 holes left, and we were down by like 12 shots. Like we weren't even thinking of winning at this point. And out of nowhere, like I chipped in on I chipped in on one hole. The next hole I dunked my chip, like it went straight in the hole. And then I went birdie, 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 par, birdie. And I was like, oh my God. And then as I was playing my teammate finished the round birdie, 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 5 birdies in a row. And then we ended up winning by 1. And it was just, I mean, our coach was there. Our coach was taking videos of it. It was probably the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen on a golf course in my life. Like we were like unconscious.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
I don't even know like how to follow up on that. Like that's how many birdies out of both of you in that last like stretch?
I birdied 6 of the last 7.
Yeah.
Mac birdied the last 5.
That's insane. You guys literally were unconscious. Like that's how do you even come back to the course the next day? Like you had to have felt shitty the next day when you like grab a club and you're like, well, this is nothing like what I did yesterday.
We felt pretty shitty, not because we grabbed any clubs. It was because of other reasons. But yeah, it's something that you got to experience like once, and it makes you work harder. I think failure makes you work hard, but I think success makes you work even harder. So that's kind of what I saw from my team after that, because we started playing really well.
So when you're in a moment like that, are you in like a trans moment where it's just like you're not thinking about anything, or are you thinking about something? Like what's kind of going through your, once you do the first 1 or 2 birdies, are you in celebration mode in your head where it's like, oh shit, I just did that? Or is it like, I just got to keep playing through this?
You just got to keep playing. I mean, our coach came up to us, me and Mac, with 5 holes left before Mac went on his birdie run, and he's like, okay, all these last 5 holes are all birdie holes, like let's go, like we're gonna need it. And then it's crazy, like when you get in that mindset, like it doesn't happen very often. And it's crazy that, it happened for me and Mac at the exact same time. You kind of just, it's not really a thing until you get on the greens, because when you're on the green and you're in that mindset, the hole looks like it's 7 feet wide. Like, you're not going to miss. And it's just like, you're going to hole every putt, no matter how far you are. You can, be aggressive, and knowing that if you do miss it, like, you're going to make the 3 or 4 footer coming back, because that's just how confident you are. And yeah, it's a cool feeling, and having someone there to just push you like my coach did, and tell me like, okay, like, you can do this. It really helped.
So like you said a few minutes ago, like how success makes you want to succeed more. So when you're coming off of that, is there any takeaways or things you try to replicate in your practice or your training to try to carry some of those feelings, or making the whole field 7 feet wide? Like, do you try to like bring any of that into other tournaments or practices, things of that nature?
Yeah, I think it's hard to like practice it, because like you don't get into that frame of mind, but you can think about it. And so like when you're not, when you're not striking it well in the middle of a round, like, it's always a really good thing to put like positive mental images in your mind. And so just focusing on that. And we did a lot of like, mental training at Iowa, and it's weird, but like breathing exercises, and a lot of people do that, and just to calm yourself down when you get in tough situations. And so yeah, looking back on, what we did that round, it really set us up for, having a strong finish to the season.
I thought
Oh,
Jack was gonna
well,
say
yeah.
something.
One question I had. I was creeping on your Twitter, and you gave a take in, I think it was January, about Patrick Reed and his embedded ball.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask, like, to a golf fan, someone who's in the sport, is
Yeah.
Patrick Reed really a threat to the game of golf? Because everybody makes him out to be this super villain. And I mean, the guy is not the best guy. Like, he's obviously broken rules very clearly, and he's okay with it. But like, he's still there, Like, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people like make him out to be this horrible guy, and not to say he is the best guy, but I mean,
Yeah.
he is a professional golfer too, and he's still there. So I just wanted to get like your take on it, because I mean, you are pretty close in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty bad what he does, but like, if you think about it, like, a lot of sports have that guy.
Mm-hmm.
There's always the villain in every sport, and someone you don't like, and someone everybody doesn't like. And I think he likes to be that guy, and I think he takes it a little bit overboard sometimes. He clearly has cheated, a couple times. In that certain situation, it's weird, because like, it was a weird situation, but to an
Right. There was like a lot of like specifics that went into like the
yeah,
ball being embedded and him grabbing it. And like, there's a technicality to where he can,
yeah,
and a lot of people, like casual fans, just did not realize that, but they already had that preconceived thought that
yeah.
he's a villain.
Yeah, yeah. So if it were Jordan Spieth doing it, or Tiger Woods, like, nobody's gonna think anything of it. But since, he had cheated before in the past, like, yeah, like, people think about it. But it was totally, he had total right to pick up his ball. He marked his ball. He told his playing competitor, like, I'm gonna check and see if this ball's embedded. And he clearly thought that, it was. He set the ball aside. He kept his tee where it was, so he knew where his ball was. And he called a rules official over. It was like, hey, like, I think my ball's embedded. Like, this lady who was standing here said she didn't see it bounce, and he probably just didn't see if it bounced or not, so that's why he asked. And so they came over. The guy felt it did bounce. Like, if you could see it on camera, like, the ball did bounce, but he didn't know that. And so he felt the rules official fell down there, and they decided that it was embedded. It probably wasn't embedded, but you could probably feel under there that there was some sort of like mark or something, and he got a ruling. Honestly, like, I would have done the same thing. Like, that's the thing. Like, if someone wants to make me a villain because I say that, like, that's fine. But like, that is under the rules of golf that you can do that.
No, and like kind of going in the same vein, do you see that as like sort of an indirect problem for golf? Is that there are a ton of technicalities to it, to where there are loopholes, like Patrick Reed has clearly just shown, like he can technically grab the ball and like that might piss some people off. But is there a lot of that in golf, or do you think that's just like one situation that's been magnified to the nth degree?
I mean, it's been magnified. I think there are a lot of situations like that, but with the integrity of the game and like golf etiquette these days, like you just don't cheat. Like that's the thing. Like you're in college, like
Yeah.
you can cheat so, like if you really really wanted to, like you could cheat so much in college golf. There's nobody around, like nobody's watching you. You're playing competitors, or they'll be 100 yards away sometimes. Like you
Mhm.
can fluff up your ball if you want, but it's just the integrity of the game. Like you just don't do that, is basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Have you ever caught anybody trying to like move their ball up a few yards or like anything like that? Or
No,
no,
no, I'm trying to think if I've ever caught someone
kick
cheating.
their ball a little bit or anything?
No, no, not that severe. I mean, I may have seen like a kid like accidentally whiff a putt. That sounds really weird. But
Oh
he like,
no, that sounds like something I could do.
yeah, it was like a foot away, and he like just went up and like tried to like Kobe Bryant fade away like the putt, and like went right over it and like said, "Oh no, I wasn't trying to hit it," and then just taps it in. And it's like usually those kids are the ones that are shooting like 120, and you're just like, whatever.
So in those moments, do you try not to chuckle or do you just completely blow it off?
I laugh. I usually laugh when that happens. I mean, I do. I mean, it's happened to me. Like when I'm just out like playing with my brother, like it happens to me. Like usually we give each other putts if it's like a foot away, and like sometimes you miss it because you like try to putt in it backwards or whatever. But I just chuckle when that stuff happens.
We've talked to some other golfers, they've talked about in their training or when they're playing and they need a little like competitive boost, they start to play games with themselves and stuff on the course and create different types of challenges. Do you do any of that type of stuff, like just play mental games with yourself while you're out on the course, or is it kind of just straightforward where you're just kind of playing? And
No, I definitely play mental games with myself. That's something that I've gotten really good at, I feel like. Whereas like, so let's say you're on a par 4 or a par 5 and you hit a bad drive, and you gotta like basically you gotta lay up, like, and it's a really easy par 5. You can get there in 2. It should be a birdie hole. And I hit it in the rough under the trees or something, like, and I punch out to like 100 yards. I try to like trick my brain into thinking, okay, this was a par 4 and I just hit a really, really good drive and now I have 100 yards. Like, just to, like, get that positive like mindset, instead of that I just hit it into the trees and I had to punch out, like, darn, like I had to do that. Like, this was an easy birdie hole. I just basically try to change my mindset to think, okay, this was a really, really, this could have been a 700 par 4 and I hit a 600-yard drive and I'm 100 yards out now. Like, that was an unreal shot, like, whatever. I do stuff like that, and that's a little severe. I don't think a lot of people do that. But I like changing it up a little bit, like what I think in my head. And there's a lot of times, every round there's something that goes wrong. Whether it's hit a bad drive. I mean, golf is not a perfect game. You're never going to perfect it, and so being able to kind of get a good mental mindset is huge. And I do play, yeah, I play games with myself in my mind to definitely just try to trick my mind into thinking that I did something good after I did something bad.
yeah, that's really interesting. One thing you touched on earlier was that I wanted to ask you was when you were at the Sea Island tournament,
Yeah.
you had to drive in carts or whatever. Do you prefer driving a cart on the course or do you prefer walking the course? Which one do you like more?
Um, well, I like writing more. Like, it's less work, but I feel like I play better when I walk. Um, I think that's just because like I think through everything. Like it takes, obviously takes a little longer to get your golf ball. Like, I can think a little bit like longer about what I'm gonna do next, or think about like stuff I need to fix, where it's just not like immediate, like I'm going to hit the next shot. Like, so it just gives me a little bit of time to think when I'm walking. But when I'm out like playing with my brother and some friends, like, yeah, we walk a lot more than we ride. But um I like riding. I mean, you can get done in 2.5 hours if there's nobody out on the course, and that's pretty nice.
What do you like to do when you're not golfing? I mean, obviously you've said golf is not your job, but you can't just do it 24/7 or else you might go crazy. And some people, I mean, they can, but like, what do you do when you're not golfing?
My girlfriend's got me on a pretty. She does. I mean, my girlfriend is an Energizer bunny, and I live with her right now, and she's like a workout fanatic. Like obviously, I'm not a workout fanatic. Like I'll go with her sometimes, but she took me on like a 21-mile bike ride the other day with her parents. I had never biked in my life, and we literally went 21 miles.
Wait.
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah, really. It was bad. It wasn't bad. It was fun.
Right.
But it was brutal. Like so bad.
Uphill, downhill,
Yeah.
like you going all terrain.
It was a trail. So it was like
Okay.
it was pretty flat, but like when you're going like under bridges, under highways and stuff, like you got to go down, then you got to go back up. So like we went 11 miles, well 10 and a half, and down to like some like village place, I don't know, and we ate like lunch. And then we had pizza for lunch, which didn't help the ride back.
Oh.
And so we rode back, and I got back, and I fell asleep for like 3 hours, and I was like, this is not for me. But yeah, I mean, I'm big into UFC. I watch a lot of UFC videos. My brother kind of got me into that, and I play video games too. I play Fortnite a lot. I don't know, just kind of something to do when I have some free time.
Is there any fighter in the UFC that you like to follow, or is it just whenever there's a main event or a card on, you just tune in?
I mean, I follow it pretty closely. So I mean, like I'm obviously a big Conor McGregor fan. And then Sean O'Malley is kind of an up and coming guy, and
Sugar.
yeah, Sugar Sean, and yeah, I mean, I like watching it all. There's been some really good ones on, and there's actually a big boxing match this week with Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather. So I'm gonna get into that as well. So.
Let's hold on. I want to dive into that because we haven't even talked about this on the pod.
Yeah,
Logan Paul, I don't know. I think he's weighed in at just under 190.
He was on First Take this week too.
Yeah, and he pumped it up pretty well, but like you could tell he knows he's gonna lose. Like it's set. He's gonna lose, but you can't sit there and just say like there isn't a outside chance that Logan Paul like actually gets one on Floyd. And we said the same thing about McGregor when he went into the ring with Floyd, and I mean Floyd controlled that fight and ended it when he wanted to. Yeah. But Logan Paul is 50 pounds heavier, like 8 inches taller. You don't see these type of fights in boxing. Like they have weight classes for a reason.
Yeah. I think, and I've said this a lot, I don't think Floyd Mayweather is going to get touched, to be honest.
I don't think so either.
And I don't think Floyd would give up his, or like put risk on his perfect record just to fight Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Like they're making a shit ton of money doing this.
Yeah.
And I think
Logan's getting millions to get knocked out. That's
I think that this is just a publicity stunt a little bit, just to make some money. I think they're trying to go and win. I do, but I think Logan knows that like he ain't gonna win. Like, because I mean, when Connor fought Floyd, every time Floyd got in trouble, he would just turn his back and just look down at the ground, and then the referee would have to split him up. And I think that he's just gonna take that same route.
Well, the same. Jake Paul just announced today that he's fighting Tyrone Woodley.
Tyrone Woodley's gonna destroy Jake Paul.
And I actually think Tyrone Woodley is going to maul him.
Yeah,
straight up, like going to get hurt. But I think Jake Paul is actually like, and I don't know if like I can say Logan too, but I think both of them are actually like there to stay in that type of fighting circuit, like this call out fighting, because people want to watch it. Like this is the most talked about fight right now. I can't, like the UFC cards they've had this year have been impeccable, but like single event hype, I don't know like what better you can do.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, everything Jake Paul's doing right now is perfect. I mean, to fight Ben Askren, who is not a striker at all, but someone who was really high up in UFC, like it was like, okay, he could win, and then he just completely knocks him out. Like I think Jake Paul is actually doing this really well.
How long do you think you could last in a UFC octagon? One round with any current on roster UFC fighter?
home, not if they went from right off the bat, not 10 seconds. I don't think. I mean, they would leg kick me once, and I think I would go down. Like those things hurt.
What would you say your strong suit would even be if you got in the ring? Would you be like an actual like brawler, go ground game? Where are you going?
I lay on them. That's about it.
He brings a driver into the ring,
Yeah.
into the octagon.
7-iron.
This is getting to the dumb question part of the interview.
Yeah, well, I have a few. I have a few too. Well, going off of that too, what do you think of in the golf world of all the match stuff with like Phil Mickelson?
I love
Brady.
shit, man.
Like, what do you think about that for the golf from a golf standpoint, for publicity for golf and all of that? Like, does it even like get your interest, or do you just think it's a complete joke? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I like it just for the sole fact that they're like mic'd up when they're doing it. The first one with just Tiger and Phil, like that was like a waste of $50. I felt like just to watch. They didn't talk. They didn't shit talk at all or anything like that. So I didn't even watch it. I bought it and I didn't even watch it. Like that's. And then they had the one with like Brady and Peyton Manning. And that one was cool because I felt like Brady and Manning were kind of bringing it to each other, and there was some good golf being played. I mean, it was just fun to watch. And then I think there was another one with like Barkley, I think, and that was fun to watch Barkley and try to hit golf balls. Yeah, I think it's good for the game. I mean, we're trying to grow the game, and with COVID, I mean, this year the game has grown so much.
Oh yeah.
People just go. I mean, it was like basically the only thing you could do for 6 or 7 months, and so I think it's good, and especially after Phil winning the PGA, I think a lot of people are going to tune in.
I was just going to say, Sam, like one of my favorite things with the match was like specifically the Tom Payton one was you have those pro golfers in Tiger and Phil, but then you have like amateurs, and Payton was a stick, like he was nailing it. Tom was iffy, and it really showed that like skill gap from people who play a lot when they have free time and the people who literally play for their life. Like you can see that gap. And I thought it was the first time you could see it like side by side. I mean, I don't know how many pro-ams they televise, but that was like one of the first. And it was really cool to see like Tiger sticking it on the hole, and then you see Tom just skying it over the entire green. That's what we came for, and like that was really cool to see. I didn't mean to barge in, Sam, but that was like my favorite part of it was just amateur golfers think they're the shit, and then they watch two pro athletes go against real golf pro athletes, and they got smoked, completely smoked.
It's cool to see like these guys, like Tom Brady is the greatest of all time in his sport. And he's, known as a really good athlete, and he goes out and just can't. I mean, he lays a goose egg. Like he doesn't know how to hit it. Like it's raining. Like he has no idea. His microphone's falling out of the back of his pants. He's all over the place.
His pants are ripping.
Yeah. That was really fun to watch.
Well, and you talk about it growing the game. Like my little brother, actually being in Florida, he literally went from playing no golf at all to playing 2-3 times a week with his buddies and stuff, always going out. And now I think he thinks he's a little bit of a pro, but I still get videos of him, hitting things into the water. So I don't think he's there yet. But like with COVID and everything, have you had buddies of yours who don't golf or are very, poor golfers in terms of your standards try to challenge you and be like, hey, let's go out and let's run it? I've been playing for 3-4 months now because of COVID. Like, let's go out on the course for 9-18 holes.
Yeah, there's some guys at school that just like were like, oh, like it just started, like I'd be at like the bars or something, or I don't know, and like hanging out with friends, and I'd have people come up to me like, oh, I just played golf, like we got to get out sometime. And I'm like, I got to play golf with a lot of damn people this semester. Then like my actual friends, like I'll play with, and they're like, yeah, I've played more in my life now because of COVID than ever. I mean, there's nothing else to do. But like here at home, like I play with the same people basically every time, and I haven't really seen it since I've been home. But back there in Iowa City, like it seems like every person you run into, like, and that like knew me or knew someone on my team was like, hey, like we need to play golf sometime. I've been playing like a lot lately, just having online school and everything like that. So, and it's crazy because some of my teammates were doing, their Zoom classes on the golf course, and it's just like, it was crazy. The school year was really weird, and but it's cool to see that there were so many people out there playing golf.
Yeah. What are you gonna miss about being in Iowa City? And like, what are some of your like favorite restaurants in Iowa City or places to hang? Like, can you go into that a little bit?
Did you guys both go to Iowa?
Yeah,
We both
yeah,
go to
we're
Iowa
we're
right now.
seniors at Iowa
Oh, are
going
you?
into this
Okay.
year. Yeah.
Okay. Oh man. I'm gonna miss Monday night DC's wings.
Oh, that's
Deal.
such a good deal.
Yeah, that's
Monday Night
unreal.
Football and those wings were like an absolute mood for the Bears games. Yep, I know that.
Yeah, and so that's kind of that the wings were good, and I mean,
All right, don't call the wings good. They were suffice. They were
they're all right.
suffice.
They were good enough. Yeah. I didn't want to say they were bad, and then you guys say, "Oh, they were good."
No, I call them
Jack's honest with
suffice.
his food.
They're suffice. Like I'm not writing home about them. They're suffice.
Yeah, and then I'd say some of my favorite bars were like Brothers. Going to Brothers was pretty fun. Like early on, like my freshman sophomore year, like I was the Summit kid. Like I was like going to Summit.
You weren't a Union kid. You were more of a Summit kid.
That was freshman year. That was like, Thursday night unions, like night, and and then just hanging out with my boys. I mean, my guys on the team were just my best friends. They still are my best friends. They're, we had a golf group chat this semester, and we always do like on Snapchat, and I feel like actually, they're not even taking me out of their group chat because I wanted to stay in with them and just kind of see. And that's where they do all their like, oh, like what time are you picking me up to go to the golf course type thing. And like, I'm not going to be there, but I just like seeing all that stuff, and knowing what they're doing at all times is pretty cool.
That's dope. What does being a Hawkeye mean to you? Like as you just kind of concluded your career, like looking back, like what does that mean to you?
Yeah. I mean, this university gave me everything. I mean, being a graduate from the University of Iowa, being a golfer there, you meet a ton of new people, and I bleed black and gold. I mean, I was a Husker fan before I came to Iowa, and not many people like that. And I was still even a Husker fan throughout my first semester there, and then I went to football games and I went to basketball games, and I became friends with all these athletes who lived on my floor, and I've now I hate Nebraska. Like I can't stand their football program. I can't stand the fans. Like, and my dad's a fan. I can't stand him either. And but being a Hawkeye, I mean, that just that has power to it. I mean, there's everywhere I went when I was in Naples. I mean, there's Hawkeye fans everywhere. When we're in the airport traveling, there's when we're in the Cedar Rapids airport. I mean, there's Hawkeye fans everywhere asking us for pictures, and I just don't think that there's any other community or culture at any other school that's kind of like that. We're kind of small town Iowa. There's a bunch of small towns around, and it's just very personable, and I really liked that.
So one final question. If you could choose one pro golfer to play 18 with, who would it be and why?
I mean, easy answer, Tiger Woods.
That's chalk. Yeah, obviously you'd say Tiger.
Let's think here. I'm trying to think. I would say probably Jordan Spieth. I love Jordan. I don't know why. Like, Jordan's like one of my favorite people to watch. I think he makes the game so much fun. Like, honestly, the way he talks to his golf ball, like while it's in the air, the things he says are to his caddy or anything like that. I just think it's really cool.
Like what? Like what? Give me one example. I have no idea what he says to the ball. Does he personify the ball and make it seem like it's an actual object, and he gives it like, okay.
Yeah, he'll hit it and be like, oh, sit. Like,
yeah.
Oh, and then he'll land and be like, oh no, go. And be like, and then he'll talk to himself. Like, he'll like hit it in the rough, and they'll hit it out of the rough like 20 yards and be like, oh, that was the thickest rough ever. Like, and just the way he has thoughts in his mind that every golfer have, but it comes out of his mouth instead.
That's awesome.
Golf needs that kind of player.
I want to change. This is the question I think we should end on, Jack.
The real final question. Yes.
is if there was a UFC fighter you could golf with, who would it be and why?
Ooh.
I would honestly be curious of what percentage of that roster can play like a round of golf. I would love to know.
Let's
And
think.
not like snap all the clubs.
I would say probably Sean O'Malley. He's like my favorite UFC fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. He's. I mean, I watched.
Sam, you laugh. That guy is straight entertainment.
Yeah,
he hopped on the
No,
Tekashi
your
6'9"
face just
look.
when you say it cracks me up.
Sugar baby. He hopped on the Tekashi look and he like knocks people out so he can back it up now. It's the perfect storm. I agree with that 1,000%. Sugar's the man, Sam. You got to check him out. I don't know why you're laughing over there about him. He can knock your ass out. Me?
No, not you, Sam.
What?
Have you watched any of his like highlights or anything?
No, I haven't.
Sugar Sean O'Malley is low-key, like, he's up and coming, like, one of the more exciting. I mean, he's already there, but, like, he's entertainment. I would say, like, it's so cliche, but like, he's a mixture of, like, a McGregor and Masvidal type of flair, where he's so cocky and he just thinks he can knock anybody out at any time, and he looks like a goof. So it's even better.
He fought a guy named Chito Vera, and I don't know where he's from, but his flag has like blue and yellow colors. So he dyed his hair blue and yellow. And then he got beat. Yeah, he's a good guy. I follow him on Instagram. He smokes a lot of weed. I don't do that, but like, yeah, he's
Sugar Sean, baby. Who knows, man? The guy's a wild card. Well, Alex, we can't thank you enough for coming on. I'm sure everybody that listens is going to enjoy it. And I mean, if we don't talk to you for a while until you come back on, good luck being a pro golfer. I mean, you get to wake up every day and hit golf balls. I mean, what could be better than just striping them all day? So, like always, guys, check out our socials, do all of that, engage with our stuff, and not the same time, same place. We will see you guys later.